I've been doing safety now for over 15 years, and I can tell you it is very rare that safety managers aren't doing enough. Typically, they're doing more than they need to do, and they're overwhelmed not because they're doing nothing, but because they're trying to do everything, and they still fail. You want to know why they fail? Because when they try to do everything, they miss the important things. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about the important things. I want to talk to you about making sure you focus on what matters. This is one of the most important lessons I could ever tell you. Well, hey friend, my name is David Sawyer. I'm a safety coach. I help busy managers that are new to safety go from feeling overwhelmed to OSHA-ready. My goal is simple. I want to prevent accidents at your facility. I want to make sure that you don't have an OSHA inspection. And probably most important, I want you to go home knowing that you're doing a good job. I want you to have peace of mind and clarity so you can say, you know what? I'm actually doing good. Because it's a great feeling to know that you're doing a good job. And if you haven't already done it, I'll tell you a cheat code. A cheat code is to go to my website, helpwithosha.com, and access the free OSHA audit checklist that I provide. You see, this isn't just a PDF. It's not just a one-page help guide. This is actually an online video where I walk you through the checklist and show you exactly what you need to know in order to prepare your team for an unexpected OSHA visit. It's a great place to start, and it really goes hand in hand with what we're going to be talking about today. You see, I'm excited because today I'm going to share with you something that every single safety manager must do in order to be successful. And yet, they often don't do it. You see, they start doing everything instead of actually doing an assessment. So I want to talk with you about doing a safety assessment so that you can diagnose the problem at your company and you can focus in on where the real hazards are. You see, there's two sides to safety. There's two sides to OSHA. There's the side that says we're in compliance, we're meeting all the requirements, we're doing all the checklists, we've got all the programs, right? That's all compliance mindset. But then there's the safety mindset, and they're different. Believe it or not, they're different. You see, the safety mindset says, I don't want anybody to get hurt. The reason for all the compliance things is so that somebody doesn't get hurt. So we want to make sure that we put rules in place that fit your company. I want you not to do it because OSHA says to do it. I want you to do it because it fits your company and it's the best way to do it. You see, the OSHA guidelines, they're the low bar. You should be going above and beyond that. You should be improving on that. And your company expectations, they had better be higher than the OSHA expectations. But before I get ahead of myself, let's start with a clear view of where you are right now. You see, whether you've been in the job for 10 years or 10 days or 10 hours, you need to know, where do we stand right now? And the best way to do that is to conduct a safety assessment. You see, I go into companies and I do a safety gap analysis where I look at everything. And I might even do a mock OSHA audit where I walk the floor and I look for problems before they become accidents. But you as a safety manager, you need to be doing that. You need to be doing, it doesn't have to be a formal event, but you should have a very clear picture of where your company stands. So there are 4 key parts to a safety assessment. 4 key parts. I'm going to walk through this step by step. And then your homework is to do this at your facility. So the very first part of it is we want to identify our company. You want to know the name of the company. You want to know the address of the company. You want to know how many people work at the company. And you want to get on the OSHA website. Go under Establishment Search and do a background on your company to see if we've ever had an OSHA inspection at your facility. You can punch that in to the OSHA.gov, go to establishment search, and you can find information on your specific location. You see, as humans, we got good memories, but they're really short. And if you haven't been at your company more than a couple years, you might not even know if you've had OSHA inspections in the past. And when you ask around the office, they might not know either. Or they might say, yeah, they came in, but they didn't find anything. Trust me, they found something. They always do. So it really, really helps you to get a clear picture of the history of the organization. Now, after you've done the company information, then you're going to be going back and you're looking at accidents. You want to look at the OSHA 300 log. You want to look at the OSHA 300A summaries. And you want to make sure that you have at least 5 years of documents relating to your facility. So you should be able to go back in time and say, okay, for the past 5 years, I've got OSHA logs and I've got OSHA summaries for each year. The reason this is important is the best predictor about future accidents are past accidents. So you want to go through the OSHA log and go through your accident records and determine where have people been seriously injured? Where have people had minor injuries? Where have we had repeat injuries? Do we see the same people, the same departments, the same job titles come up? Because that's a really good indicator that we have an issue in that area. Now, after we do the accident review, there might be more information, right? The OSHA log has anything that's required to be reported. So there might be other things. There might be near misses. There might be property damage. And a great way to find out this information is to ask around. Ask about the last time somebody was injured on the job. Ask about injuries that were significant. Ask about injuries that are repeat. Reach out to your maintenance folks. Reach out to your quality folks. Reach out to your production folks. Reach out to your human resources. It's a great way to get a good handle on where the company is and where they've been in the past in regards to accidents. Now, the third piece of the puzzle deals with all the documents, right? So we dug into the accident logs and the accident reports. Now we're going to be looking at safety programs. Now, I use programs as kind of a big umbrella because you want to be looking at safety programs. You want to look at safety training. You want to look at safety inspections. So, and when I do training and one-on-one coaching with managers, I talk about something called PTI 360. PTI 360 stands for programs, inspections, and training. And you got to do those routinely so that you're improving your programs. That makes your training better. And then you're going back and doing inspections to make sure that people are actually doing what you train them to do in the safety training. So this is kind of the heart of your safety program, right? And if you're going to manage safety, you got to know where all this information is. 15 years ago, it was all hard copies. It was in the back of somebody's office in a 3-ring binder. Now, most of the time, it's kept on a server on the company computer system. So make sure you have access to it. Make sure you can get in there. You want to see when were these things last updated. Oftentimes, you're going to have programs. You're going to have procedures. You're going to have policies. All of this information needs to be kept alive. It's not a dead document. It's going to be living. It's going to be moving. It's going to be changing. So make sure that this really has what it's supposed to have. Now, the fourth part of the puzzle is the part that gets forgotten. You see, most of the time when people do a safety assessment, they don't include this last part. They stick to accidents and they stick to company information and history and they stick to OSHA programs, and they might tease out what I just talked about into training and programs and online training and in-person training and community college training and all this other stuff. Boiling it down, this is the piece of the puzzle that's always missing. And it's a secret weapon for me because it makes all the difference in the world. We need information on you. You, as the safety manager, are the key clog in this machine. You're the one that keeps things moving. You're the one that keeps things going. And you have your own personality, your own management style, your own background, your own professional achievements. And we need to know, what have you been certified on? Where are your strengths? What do you excel at? What do you enjoy doing? What do you hate doing? What are you terrible at? That makes all the difference in the world, because if you're not good with details, we need to make sure somebody's looking over your shoulder when it comes to the details. If you're not good at training, we need to make sure we outsource that to somebody that's a good trainer. If you are excellent at rapport and talking with people on the floor, then we need to make sure you're doing that. So the personal side of it comes into play, because here's the truth. You can be a successful safety manager and hate your job because you're doing everything you don't like to do. I'll tell you a real quick story. When I started my business, Port City Training, I left a job in food processing. I was working with Smithfield Foods, and I had been pulled into doing so much more paperwork and documents. I was getting pulled into food safety and environmental and all sorts of regulatory information. And I started to loathe it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the pressure. I didn't like the paperwork. I didn't like the day-to-day routine that I was getting into. And I realized I love training. I love getting in front of a room of people and talking. I love doing online training. I love teaching people. And guess what? I wasn't doing that anymore. And so I started to really despise my job. And that's when I realized I was bringing it home with me. And my wife was like, "You're just not happy." And that's when I said, you know what? I got to make a change. And it was like flipping a light switch. Now, I'm not saying the business was successful right out of the gate, but when I flipped that light switch, I realized I can't do this anymore. My strength is not in doing this. My strength is in teaching and communicating and speaking, and that's what I want Port City Training to be. The reason it's not called Port City Safety is because I am a trainer and a coach. I love working with managers. I love teaching managers. And that's why I started Port City Training. And I want to share with you the whole reason that I'm explaining about safety assessment is this is the missing piece. This is the secret sauce. And I have just developed an online safety assessment. And when you take this online safety assessment, it will take you 10 to 15 minutes. And at the end of it, you will get a safety score. And your score will tell you how you're doing. It's a numeric score. And the best thing about it is it will tell you what you need to work on to improve your safety programs. And it's not just about OSHA compliance. It's about keeping people safe and having you be successful at your job. I want you to love what you do. And if you're spending all of your time doing stuff that you hate, you're doing the wrong thing. So at the bottom of this video, there's going to be a link where you can go take this online assessment. It is very, very reasonably priced. And when you take this online assessment, the best part is you'll have a chance to actually talk with me. I will do a call with you and we will walk through the safety assessment one-on-one, and I will unpack exactly where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, and this will be like a gap analysis. We'll find out what you need to work on next. This is an awesome tool. It's something I wish I had when I was a safety manager, because it's something that will really show you a personalized approach to your next steps. So until we talk again, go to my website, access the free OSHA audit checklist, And then you can click the link at the bottom of the video. It'll probably be on the website too by then, but you can click and you can take your own personalized safety assessment, get your score, and we'll have a conversation and we will work through exactly what your next steps are so that you can grow as a safety manager, prevent accidents, avoid OSHA, go from feeling overwhelmed to OSHA ready. And until we talk again, do everything you can to keep the people you work with safe, because no one should get hurt at work.